David, thank you so much for joining me on Coaching Call. How are you, my friend?
Good, good, doing good, man. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. Bands are an interesting animal, and pretty much, unless you're like in a band like, you know, Kiss or Aerosmith or Rush, that's together 30, 40 years, which is a total the atypical. If you're in a band, it's gonna break up. It's inevitable.
Mm,
It's
right.
inevitable, that it's a very short shelf life.
Well,
So you
different
go.
personalities, right?
Right, exactly. A lot of musicians, a lot of, everybody's very headstrong. Sometimes there's egos. You're spending a tremendous amount of time with each other, and eventually you get on each other's nerves. Eventually, one person wants to go this direction, you want to go this direction. So it's a constant. It's hard to find, and it's hard to be on the exact same page as three, four other people. So
Hmm.
bands are an interesting dynamic, but I eventually worked up to the point where I found some musicians early on that were very much on the same page as me, and that I was very much, um, I really enjoyed being with and hanging out with. That's the big first lesson I learned about bands. And that's like everyone tells me, what's your biggest advice to get in a band? My biggest piece of advice to anyone to do that, pro tip, is if you're going to get in a band, get with people that you like to hang out with. Get in
Hmm.
a band with people that you want to be with, because you're going to be spending so much time. Get in a band with people that you want to be friends with and that are of the same ilk. If not, there's going to be issues. So that band, I was able to, and we were writing original music as well as we were playing a lot of shows. And that became like a second family to me. I think a lot of people have that experience, especially early on, but this is before, any of us are married or have kids.
Right,
It's
right.
like that's what we do. You spend holidays together. We went on vacations together, and we wrote music all the time. And that was a special time in my life with that band because we were like family. And we were
Mm.
together for, 3, 4 years until it happens where, well, a bunch of things happen because we had a kind of got this record deal thing going. But then, you get to the point where everyone wants to go in a different direction,
Mm.
personalities start to clash, and it breaks up. But yeah, if you could finding that chemistry is special, very special. And a lot of times it takes a while to find the right group of guys or girls or combination of whatever. But the big thing I learned is because I learned those lessons, and the lessons are hard lessons to learn. So I try to share them. Like I remember clearly I got in this one band one time, and I was playing shows on the East Coast in New York and with this band, and it was technically really challenging stuff, and it was great. And we auditioned. We found this one drummer, and he was a phenomenal drummer. This guy,
Mm.
because the stuff we were doing was tough, progressive rock, and this guy was fantastic, but he was a total prick.
Ah.
He was just not a nice guy. He was
Mm.
just miserable. But because he was so talented, we took him in and we started playing with him, and it totally blew up. It just didn't
Mm.
work. And I didn't know, I was still very young back then. Like I sacrificed at that time saying, okay, we're going to overlook the fact that he's not kind of like us and he's kind of a jerk, but he's so good, you know?
Mm.
And it totally doesn't work. Totally didn't
No.
work because it was just not fun. He just made it not fun to
Yeah,
be
you
around.
could, the chemistry, I guess, is super important, right?
Super important, yeah. Especially if you're writing original music, you gotta have that.
Mm.
But yeah, unless you're at like this incredibly high level where you have to stay together, then then I could see people staying together, and that happens a lot. Like there was
Mm.
times when John Bon Jovi and Richie Zambora hated each other; they wouldn't even talk to each other, but
Mm.
they had to stay together as a band because when you're together, when you reach that level of musician and that level of popularity, if you leave, unless you're the lead guy, you have to
Right.
start back at the bottom again. Because you
Mm.
built this brand for 20 years. That's why a lot of these bands stay together if they can after so long. Because where are they going to go? They're not going to start all over again
Right.
that much. So yeah, but for most bands, you got to get with people that you really want to hang out with and be together a lot with. So yeah. So you going through whatever martial arts, whatever there's these valuable lessons you learn over time that you try to impart on your students, and make their journey a little easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely.